John Hynds here with Hynds Backcountry Trails. Today I'm hiking the Maiden Creek Trail in the Conexu National Forest. It's a cold one today, so come along with me as I hike through snow, ice, and hopefully find some beautiful views of Lake Pend Oreille. For my gear, today I'm wearing a waterproof shell, an alpaca wool sweater, and a wool base layer. It's around 25 degrees Fahrenheit, so I want to stay warm. In my backpack, I brought my recording gear in a waterproof plastic bag. I brought my water bottle I take with me everywhere. I have my bear spray, a spare hat because this jacket doesn't have a hood, and I have a long-lasting solar power battery with a flashlight. I have an emergency first aid kit and some snack for the end of the trail. Whenever I hike, I always keep bear spray with me, and I decided today, since it was on my chest and out of the way, to keep the safety strap and safety tab off so it's easier to use, should the need arise. One of the goals for my first video is to practice plant identification, and today on the side of the trail I saw a really cool plant called Indian pipe. Indian pipe is a native flower that parasitizes on cedar roots, and in the summer they're opaque whitish red. That's why I call them ghost flowers. Here on the trail, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to take the left or the right path. I decided to go to the left up this rocky path, which just happened to be the correct trail. I quickly realized I was on the right path when I saw the other people's footprints. Making YouTube videos wasn't a spontaneous decision for me. It's something I've kind of been wanting to do since I was a kid. When I was in middle school, anytime that I got sick and had to stay home from school, my parents wouldn't allow me to play video games and watch cartoons.
Instead, I had to watch something educational. For me, this was always documentaries about the ocean or wildlife. I usually chose to watch shows like David Attenborough, Blue Planet, Jeremy Wade River Monsters, even things like Bear Grylls that, everyone knows they aren't the most realistic thing. I'd always been interested in animals and natural science, and I wanted to film it and make a TV show just like I watched when I was a kid. But with where I ended up in North Idaho and studying wildlife, when I was in college, I started watching Outdoor Boys, and I really loved how he could go out, spend time with his family, enjoy the outdoors, and share it with the whole world. When Luke from the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel retired, he inspired me to go out and make my own educational, family-friendly videos, just like I watched when I was a kid. I go out and I film myself being outdoors because I want to inspire that love and confidence in nature and other people.
As I was walking along, I kept seeing these logs with weird brown icicles coming off of them. I think this brown color was caused by the tannins in the wood leaching out and freezing. The ice had an odd, really musty smell to it. This is Maiden Creek. It runs parallel to the trail from the trailhead to Lake Pend Oreille.
I mentioned in my last video how many trees were down all over North Idaho. Even on this trail, it's very densely wooded, but you can see there's lots of trees that have been broken down, and people have had to do maintenance on the trail by cutting the down trees. I am in the Canucksu National Forest, so they do have trail crews that come in and clean up a lot of the down trees. I just had a little heart attack. I heard a branch snap and some ice fall. It sounded just like something coming up behind me pretty quick, but there was nothing there. I have no need to worry. There's probably not any bears out. It's too cold for them now. They're hibernating. I don't know of any wolves in this area. There are cougar and people, because someone peed back there. But for the most part, I'm pretty safe out here. Looks like I have to cross this stream to get to the trail. My boots are waterproof, but I don't want to risk slipping and falling in, so I think I'm going to cross on the moss as carefully as I can. I made it. I had to turn the camera off. That was a little sketchy. I had to take off my jacket because I was starting to sweat. It's okay to be a little cool or a little warm, but you don't want to be retaining any moisture. That's why I'm wearing my wool today, because wool is warm, it breathes, and even when wet, it is well insulated. But it's good at wicking moisture away from the body to keep you warm.
The forest I'm walking in now is the remnants from the Sunset Fire. Last summer, this fire burned over 3,200 acres and started less than a mile from my house. The fire spread from inland to the shore of Lake Pend Oreille and to the north, where it destroyed thousands of acres of both private and public lands. So it's a bit unnerving walking through here, because I thought my house would have burned down too. I finally made it to the end of the trail, and even though it was longer than I expected, it wasn't too bad because it was all downhill.
Well, I made it to the end of the trail. I made it to Maiden Rock. Right on the beach here, there's a few campgrounds that are only accessible either by hiking in or by boat. And those are pretty common around North Idaho. A lot of these large lakes like Priest Lake, Pend Oreille, Coeur d'Alene have boat-only camping spots. But since I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and rest up a little, drink some water, eat some food, and get ready for the hike back. See some more eagles out there.
This is the end of Maiden Creek, a quaint waterfall that spills over the beach. On the beach, someone left a biking helmet. Even though at one point it belonged to someone, out here it's just litter, so I decided to take it back with me to properly throw away.
Well, it sure is beautiful out here, but the days are short and I better head back up the trail.
Earlier, I said the first 2.4 miles were all downhill, but that just means the next 2.4 miles are all uphill. I quickly realized how tiring this would be. The whole day, I only saw one other person and his dog, but about halfway back up the trail, I noticed some paw prints in the snow. Some of the paws belonged to his dog, but there were also very large paws I think might have been a wolf, though I don't know of any wolves in the area.
I've been seeing a few signs posted around the trail here saying to look out for flash floods, falling rocks, those sorts of things. And just on this cliffside behind me, I actually caught a small avalanche on camera. I stopped for a second to talk to the camera and I heard some crunching and falling sounds. I thought maybe it was some animal running on the rocks, but I looked up and it was pieces of waterfall that were melting in the sun and breaking off and falling all the way down the cliff. So that was really cool. That's my highlight of the trip.
At this point, my camera was starting to die and I forgot to bring a charging cable, so I was trying to get to the trailhead as fast as I could so I could film just a little bit more.
I made it to the end of the trail. That was 3.6 miles and a lot of elevation. If you're still learning, or if you've been doing this your whole life, I'd love to have you follow along as I share my journey. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and if you have any tips or advice, please leave those in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next trail.
For more adventures like this, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss future videos, and follow me on Instagram at Hynds Backcountry Trails. Thank you for watching.